Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about early degrees in the zodiac signs between 0 and 5, part 1. And anyway, let me get started. Now, somebody with the first 0 to 5 degrees, I guess you could say 0 to 5 degrees in Aries, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, may be a little more insightful, intuitive, and maybe a little bit less, I guess we could say, kind of like combative than the typical Aries. The reputed seer, known as Nostradamus, his rising sign, according to astrotheme.com, is set at 3 degrees Aries, and obviously, whether he was actually mediumistic or not, there's obviously some controversy and debate over I guess you could say, the interpretation of his prognostications. The fact that he had an interest in this, I think, in being like showing mediumistic qualities or using the intuitive side of, I think, can be strongly connected with the fact that he's a cuspal Aries rising sign. Another thing is, I had a friend in school that was born with the 2 degrees Sun in Aries, and he did not like discord or strife. And I'm not saying all Aries are all about combative and this and that, but Aries tends more toward a fiery temperament and a type that will is really strong about fighting when they feel they have to, and but this person seem to have more of a passive way and aversion to this. And even when I got into it with somebody in school one time, he acted as a mediator and kind of a peacemaker and intervened. So I think this might have been very strongly attributed to the fact that he was a cuspal Aries sun. Now the next sign I want to talk about is Taurus, and people at 0 to 5 degrees Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant maybe a little more competitive, even maybe have a little more pugnacious nature than the typical Taurus. Actor Tony Danza has the Sun at 0 to 1 degrees Taurus, depending on his time of birth, which I don't know. And he even boxed professionally from like 1976 to 79 and compiled a 9-3 record in doing so. So I think that kind of is connected with the fact that he's close to Aries as far as he's cuspal Taurus, even though his sun sign is Taurus and has a lot of Taurus characteristics. Of course, he has some, I think, a little Aries flavoring. Now, pro-female tennis superstar Serena Williams has 3 degrees Taurus rising, and she's one of the top people in total titles in the open era in tennis right now among active players. And she's been phenomenal, and she's obviously a very fierce competitor, and I think we see this competitive spirit come out, which is connected with her being a very early Taurus rising person and having that Aries nuance mixed in with her personality. Now, people with Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant 0 to 5 degrees might be more persistent, headstrong, and determined than most Geminis. A daughter of a friend of mine who has the Moon in Gemini at 0 degrees in her chart, even though she I'm sure has a variety of interests and kind of restless personality, she kind of, the mother will constantly tell her to do things and reprimand her, and she'll still kind of go against whatever was said and still intend on doing a lot of things her own way. And I think this might be attributed to the fact that even though her moon is in Gemini at 0 degrees, it's close to Taurus, and maybe that Taurus is giving a little flavoring to her Gemini moon. Now, another example is former NFL running back Ricky Williams has his sun at 0 to 1 degrees Gemini, depending on time of birth, and he had multiple NFL drug policy violations during his career, but yet he showed a strong, persistent, and persevering quality in attempts to keep coming back into the NFL, and that try harder next time attitude. And I think we look at that, and I think this could be strongly attributed to the fact that he was pretty early Gemini sun. I think he had some Taurus sun mixed in his personality. Now, another, I'm going to go to Cancer now, and with people with the sun, moon, or ascendant 0 to 5 degrees Cancer, they could be more diversified, more versatile, and greater need for variety than the average Cancer. I had a friend at 2 degrees Sun in Cancer, and he just liked to do so many different things. We were doing something different virtually every day, whether it was bike riding, playing basketball, wiffle ball, even I think there was something like badminton maybe, or whatever it might be. He just wanted to do Trivial Pursuit. I mean, it seemed like he disdained monotony and wanted to do something different, like every day. And I think obviously you'd be less introverted, more sociable, having being in an early Cancer degree such as 0 to 5. I mean, 0 to 5 is what I call the early Cancer degree, or cuspal degrees for Cancer. Now, also another example is Prince William, who has his sun at sun sign 0 degrees Cancer, and he showed a lot of I think some Gemini versatility mixed in when in school, at least. I don't know if he still is involved in this in his current life now, but he was interested in pigeon shooting, swimming, I believe basketball as well. I think I meant to say clay pigeon shooting. I think I said pigeon shooting by accident. But anyway, and he even trained, I believe, to become like a pilot, and he just has shows a lot of interest. And I think this aversion to just wanting to focus on one main thing, I think could be connected with him being very close to Gemini in his sun sign. So anyway, the next sign I want to talk about is Leo. And with Leo, people that have sun, moon, or ascendant 0 to 5 degrees Leo, I can see them more involved with the home and family than the typical Leo. A friend of mine who has the sun at 0 to 1 degrees Leo seems to be more introverted and home-oriented than the average Leo. Seems whether he's on the internet or raking leaves outside in the fall, he's involved strongly with home activities. Another example is we look at Linda Carter, actress Linda Carter, who I don't know, I didn't get the degree of her sun sign, but I know it's very early Leo. I believe she was born on July 24th or 25th, one of those dates, and obviously it's between probably 0 to, it's like to 2 degrees Leo, somewhere around there. And anyway, she, even though this was a role on a TV show, as many of you know, she played Wonder Woman. I think ran from like 1975 to 1980. I mean, and she played a very patriotic character, having her uniform was like red, white, and blue, and had the stars on her, and I mean, she was just fighting for the country. And I think, as I've spoken about in at least one other video, is that a lot of times actresses are subconsciously drawn to roles that are compatible with their astrological nature. And I think a lot of that is attributed to the fact she was very early Leo in her sun sign. It had a little smattering of Cancer mixed in there, Cancer character, like Sun and Cancer characteristics. So anyway, well, last but not least, for part one, I'm going to talk about Virgo. And some people with the sun, moon, or ascendant in Virgo at 0 to 5 degrees may be a little more inclined toward notoriety, and flair for the dramatic more so than the average Virgo. Now, actor, director, comedian Woody Allen has Virgo rising at 2 degrees. And he's not someone that has much aversion to the limelight. And another person is comedian, actor Phil, I think his name is Becker, but I'm not sure. I'm honestly not remembering the name for some reason. And anyway, he had his son. There was a comedian actor who had his son at 3 to 4 degrees Virgo, and he didn't, obviously was not apprehensive or shy about performing on stage. I'm just going to say it's a famous comedian actor, and I'm sorry I'm not getting the name 100% on this, people, but I think he was born around 1896 and had his birthday somewhere around the 26th, 27th of August, if that'll give a clue. But he was an old-time actor, comedian actor. I think he was might have been in vaudeville, but one of those old-time people. And anyway, he obviously didn't have an anathema to performing on stage. And I think a lot of people that have the sun, moon, or ascendant in Virgo between 0 and 5 degrees are going to be a little bit more extroverted and outgoing, as opposed to the average Virgo. So anyway, people, this is it for this YouTube astrological segment, and stay tuned next time where I'll be dissertating and talking about early degree zodiac signs part 2. 2 things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel, but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis on a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because a person astrologically is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.